It is a flower bed. The lanky one scratches his head as if he's got some tobacco caught in his tangled hair. But you're not growing anything in it. Never you bloody mind what I do with my own flower bed. The lanky one nods quickly, clearly keen to avoid further provocation of this unknown man. He turns to his wife as if he's expecting her to come to his aid. She doesn't look at all likely to do so. The lanky one looks it over again. Pregnant, you know, hormones and all that, he tries with a grin. The pregnant one does not grin, nor does Obe. She crosses her arms. Obe tucks his hands into his belt. The lanky one clearly doesn't know what to do with his massive hands, so he swings them back and forth across his body, slightly shamefully, as if they're made of cloth, fluttering in the breeze. I'll move it and have another go, he finally says and smiles disarmingly at Obe again. Obe does not reciprocate. Motor vehicles are not allowed in the area. There's a sign. The lanky one steps back and nods eagerly, jogs back, and once again contorts his body into the underdimensioned Japanese car. Christ, Obe and a pregnant women muttered wildly in unison, which actually makes Obe dislike her slightly less. The lanky one pulls forward a few yards. Obe can see very clearly that he does not straighten up the trailer properly. Then he starts backing up again, right into Obe's mailbox, buckling the green sheet metal. Obe storms forward and throws the car door open. The lanky one starts flapping his arms again. My fault. Sorry about that. Didn't see the mailbox in a rear view mirror, you know. It's difficult. This trailer thing just can't figure out which way to turn the wheel. Obe trumps his fist on the roof of the car so hard that the lanky one jumps and bangs his head on a door frame. Out of the car! What? Get out of the car, I said. The lanky one gives Obe a slightly startled glance, but he doesn't quite seem to have the nerve to reply. Instead, he gets out of his car and stands beside it, like a schoolboy in a dunce's corner. Obe points down the footpath between the row houses towards the bicycle shed and the parking area. Go and stand where you're not in the way. The lanky one nods, slightly puzzled. Holy Christ. A lower arm amputee with cataracts. What is this? Cataracts could have backed this trailer more accurately than you, Obe mutters as he gets into the car. How can anyone be incapable of reversing with the trailer? He asks himself. How? How difficult is it to establish the basic of a right and left and then do the opposite? How do these people make their way through life at all? Of course, it's an automatic, Obe notes. Might have known these morons would rather not have to drive their cars at all, let alone reverse into a parking space by themselves. He puts it into drive and inches forward. Should one really have a driver's license if one can't drive a real car rather than some Japanese robot vehicle? He wonders. Obe doubts whether someone who can't park a car properly should even be allowed to vote. When he's pulled forward and straightened up the trailer, as the civilized people do before backing up with the trailer, he puts it into reverse. Immediately, it starts making a shrieking noise. Ove looks around angrily. What the bloody hell are you? Why are you making that noise? He hisses at the instrument panel and gives the steering wheel a whack. Stop it, I said, he roars, and particularly insisting the flashing red light. At the same time, the lanky one appears at the side of the car and carefully taps the window. Ove rolls the window down and gives him an irritated look. It's just the reverse radar making that noise, the lanky one says with a nod. Don't you think I know that, Ove, see this? It's a bit unusual. It's a bit unusual, this car. I was thinking I could show you the controls if you like. I'm not an idiot, you know, Ove snorts. The lanky one nods eagerly. No, of course not. Ove glares at the instrument panel. What's it doing now? The lanky one nods enthusiastically. It's measuring how much power is left in the battery, you know, before it switches from the electric motor to the gas-driven motor. Because it's a hybrid, Ove doesn't answer. He just slowly rolls up the window, leaving the lanky one outside with his mouth half open. Ove checks the left wing mirror, then the right wing mirror. He reverses while the Japanese car shrieks in terror, maneuvers the trailer perfectly between his own house and his incompetent new neighbors, gets out and tosses the cretin his keys. Reverse the radar and parking sensors and the cameras and crap like that. A man who needs all that to back up with the trailer shouldn't be bloody doing it in the first place. The lanky one nods cheerfully at him. Thanks for the help, he calls out, as if Ove hadn't just spent the last 10 minutes insulting him. You shouldn't even be allowed to rewind a cassette, grumbles Ove. The pregnant woman just stands there with her arms crossed. But she doesn't look quite as angry anymore. She thanks him with the wry smile as if she's trying not to laugh. She has the biggest brown eyes Ove has never ever seen. The Residents Association does not permit any driving in this area. And you have to bloody go along with it, Ove hopes, before stomping back to his house. He stops halfway up a paved path between the house and his shed. He wrinkles his nose in a way men of his age do, the wrinkle traveling across his entire upper body. Then he sinks down on his knees, put his face right up close to the paving stones, which he neatly and without exception removes and relays every other year, whether necessary or not. He sniffs again, nods to himself, stands up. His new neighbors are still watching him. Piss. There's piss all over the place here, Ove says, gruffly. He gesticulates at the paving stones. Okay, says the black-haired woman. No, nowhere is bloody okay around here. And with that, he goes into his house and closes the door. He sinks onto the stool in the hall and stays there for a long time. bloody woman. Why do she and her family have to come here if they can't even read a sign right in front of their eyes? You're not allowed to drive cars inside the block. Everyone knows that. Albert goes to hang up his coat on a hook among a sea of his wife's overcoats. Motors. Idiots. To close the window just to be on the safe side. Then goes into his living room and stares up at his ceiling. He doesn't know how long he stands there. He loses himself in his own thoughts. Floats away as if in a mist. He's never been the sort of man who has never been a daydreamer, but lately, as if something's twisted up in his head, he's having increasing difficulty concentrating on things. He doesn't like it at all. When the doorbell goes, it's like he's waking up from a warm slumber. He rubs his eyes hard and looks around as if worried that someone may have seen him. The doorbell rings again. Abby turns around and stares at the bell as if it should be ashamed of itself. He takes a few steps into the hall, noticing that his body is as stiff as a set plaster. He can't tell if the creaking is coming from the floorboards or himself. And what is it now? He asks the door before he has even opened it, as if it had the answer. What is it now? He repeated as he thrown the door open so hard that a 3-year-old girl is flung backwards by the draft and ends up very unexpectedly on her bottom. Besides her stands a 7-year-old girl looking absolutely terrified. Their hair is pitchy black, and they have the biggest brown eye Obe has ever seen. Yes, says Obe. The older girl looks guarded. She hands him a plastic container. Obe reluctantly accepts it. It's warm. Rice, the 3-year-old girl announces happily, briskly, getting to her feet. We saffron and chicken, explains the 7-year-old, far more wary of him. Obe evaluates them suspiciously. Are you selling it? The 7-year-old looks offended. We live here, you know. Obe is silent for a moment. Then he nods as if he might possibly be able to accept this premise as an explanation. Okay. The younger one also nods with satisfaction and flaps her slightly too long sleeves. Mom said you were hungry. Obe looks in utter perplexity at the little flapping speech defect. What? Mom said you looked hungry, so we have to give you dinner. The 7-year-old girl clarifies with some irritation. Come on, Nazanin, she adds, taking her sister by the hand and walking away after directing a resentful stare at Obe. Obe keeps an eye on them as they skulk off. He sees the pregnant woman standing in her doorway, smiling at him before the girls run into her house. The 3-year-old turns and waves cheerfully at him. Her mother also waves. Obe closes the door.